Hold on. Okay, there we go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? I hope you have a fabulous day. Okay. First things first, I will not tolerate, as my disclaimer says, I will not tolerate any hate towards anybody or amongst each other in the chat. I am not going to tolerate my cat messing with my stuff, Luna. And I'm not going to tolerate any hate towards my moderators, towards me, because I'm doing this case. Now, if there is hate, I have authorized my moderators to go ahead, and there's not even going to be a warning. Let me make that clear. No warning. You will be put on the block list. Doesn't block you from viewing my content, but it blocks you from commenting. We won't see it. I won't even see it. I won't even know about it. So I want to put that out clear because this is, I think Idaho 4 is very controversial, but a lot of people have open minds. This is one of them cases where a lot of people have closed minds. And I'm not, if you are closed minded about it and you are totally 100% convinced he is guilty, before I throw any cards, before the evidence and the new DNA testing is done, please leave. I don't want your energy. Okay? I'm very firm on that. I'm not playing. I'm not putting up with bullshit. Okay? Now that I got that out of that part out of the way, my other part is all information in this video is for entertainment purposes only. It is my opinion, my interpretation of the cards that are thrown or that fall on the table, not based on fact, all alleged. I encourage you to do your own research, form your own opinions, but don't show the hate in this channel. Okay? I am just a blonde throwing cards. Now, let's go over a few things. And I got to get that software. I got to find out what software it is. I think I've asked 1111. She's never given me an answer yet. I want to know what the software is where I could put screenshots up and stuff on a live. I might have to find her email and email her. But anyhow, new evidence or new developments that just came out around the 4th or 5th of January. And I saw even more information this morning on Twitter or X, whatever it's called now. I had to also create a new Twitter account because I could not get into my old one. That pissed me off this morning. But anyhow, I'm looking on there and okay, so the LA Innocence Project has taken on this case. At first, it was announced on the Big Boys, the main Innocence Project Twitter page, Twitter feed, where they were saying that they were looking at Scott Peterson. Then they later put out another post just yesterday, I think it might have been, that questions to be directed about the case, about them taking on the case, is to go to this other Innocence Project Twitter page, the LA Innocence Project. And they stated that they're not affiliated with each other. The LA is definitely nonprofit. So there you have it. But he has acquired new representation. And one of the big things is DNA testing. Okay, so on December 24th, 2002, there were at least a dozen witnesses that said that Scott left the house. And after he left the house, Laci was seen walking the dog. Okay, a dozen witnesses after Scott was already gone. Okay. Um, then there was proof that there was a burglary going on across the street on that morning also. There now allegedly people are saying, or there people are speculating that maybe Laci confronted those burglars because, if something was wrong, Laci was the type of person not to keep her mouth shut. Okay. And then she got forced into the van, and that she was later unalived. Yes, I have to say unalive because of YouTube. Okay. Um, and then disposed of. Now, there's conflicting information also out there. I did some digging. Honey, I did some digging. There's information out there that there could be a timeline discrepancy of when Laci and her unborn child Connor became unalived. Had something to do with autopsy and stuff, testing done on Connor that suggested that Connor passed January 3rd of 2003, which is, 11 days after Laci disappeared. Now, let's take this a step further. With that kind of information, there is speculation that she was abducted and held. Maybe they thought they were going to get money. I don't know. But held and figuring out what they were going to do with her. And she may have got feisty because she was a feisty. From what I understand, she was feisty from what I've read. And she may have gotten too mouthy or throw threats out. Oh, wait till I get out of here. Wait till I'm free here. I says, you're going down. Or she might have done something to provoke, which caused the unaliving, etc. Now, that's just one theory. I'm not quite buying that theory because of some actual physical evidence. Here's the boom. Are you ready for the boom? I need a sound effect that I could play. Maybe next time I'll find something on my phone. Maybe I can play a sound effect. But here's the boom. The van that was across the street, robbing the house across the street, was found burned. And there was a mattress in the back of that van. Okay. That part of it survived and didn't get burned, and there was blood on that mattress. Now, that is what Scott Peterson once tested. And here's the shitty part. Back in the day, 21 years ago, they didn't tested blood on that mattress. They didn't effing test it. And my theory is maybe sloppy police work or something like that. I don't know. Laziness. It's so easy to pin it on the estranged husband because it's no secret that there were problems in the marriage. After all, he had a mistress, right? That mistress comes forward and says, "Oh, I've only seen him 6 or 7 times total. That's it." So it wasn't a serious affair. It was very casual, but still, the man's a cheater. Okay? He's a liar, he's a cheater. Yeah, there's some things like said he was going golfing, but he ended up going fishing. Um, I think Laci wanted a divorce, and I think he was afraid of losing all his money and his house and everything. So there is evidence going both ways. There's a lot of evidence against him, but in my opinion, this van, the bloody mattress, is a boom. So the LA Innocence Project took on this case. And let me tell you, the Innocent Project does not take on just any Joe Smo case. There has to be evidence or proof that is compelling enough for them to invest their time and energy. There has to be enough proof to them that an innocent man might be locked up for life. And what's interesting also is after, I think it was in 2005, is when it finally went to trial and he was finally convicted of double homicide of Laci and their unborn child, Connor. Okay. And he was sentenced to the DEATH penalty. Yeah, he was on the D row. He appealed that based on the another corruption type of situation here, that the judge, when choosing the grand jury, or I don't know if it's grand jury or what jury, choosing the jury or choosing the jury, period. Maybe it's a general jury, that anybody who said that they were against the death penalty, oh, there, I said it, they were not chosen. They were removed from the jury and replaced. Every single person on there was for capital punishment. Anybody that was opposed to it was dismissed. Why? Okay. Now moving forward, that's what spawned his motion for his sentencing to be reviewed. So then he went from D row to being a lifer in prison. Okay. So 21 years after the unalivings, this other shit comes up. And I wanted to jump on this, and that is what was prompting this reading. And I wrote on my blog, on my website, I wrote a whole write-up about it. And I mentioned in there that for many years, I was in 100% convinced that he was guilty. I was one of them that thought he was truly, truly guilty. On up until just recently. Okay. Even my best friend, she was saying, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. And I thought, well, maybe he didn't, but I wasn't convinced that he didn't. Okay. I still, in the back of my mind, I think, he might have done this. I think he could have done this. But I thought that I thought that he had truly done it. Right now, my position is I'm on the fence. I don't know. There is enough reasonable doubt there that I want to dig into the cards and see what they have to say. With the latest shit coming up just this month, I'm not swayed that he's innocent. I'm not swayed that he's guilty. I'm right smack dab in the middle. My gut, I'll just put this out there now, and we'll see if the cards concur with it, or if the cards say, if my guides look at me when I throw the cards out and say, Jen, you're full of shit. Okay. Is that he killed her, but not with his own hands. Okay. More like hit for hire, maybe. Some of my thoughts have been, well, maybe that burglary across the street was staged to be a burglary, and they went in was say, well, while we're here, we might as well go help ourselves. But that burglary was set up, and as a secondary motive for that van being there, the primary motive, well, we need to watch for Laci because we need to snag her. Okay, so you understand where I'm coming from. So that thought has crossed my mind. And there's also, it's totally possible, I'm off base, that Scott had absolutely nothing to do with it. It just, he has the worst luck in the world. Kind of like Koberger, who has the worst luck in the world. And that's another thing. Even with the Idaho 4, right after the murders, and they were looking for a suspect, when they caught Brian Koberger for beginning part of the case, I thought he was guilty. It's called the media telling you the narrative that they want you to believe, and not the general public not having the mindset or the brains to do a little bit of research, and they believe everything that comes out of them, out of their TV, out of their radio, out of their computer screen. Okay, that they believe that the media is always truthful and honest. I roll. That's why I wish I had all these little screens, because I would push a button and do an eye roll. But and the media is fed by the LE and the courts, investigators, occasionally attorneys, but then comes the gag order. Silence, and my point being that back when this happened, I remember when it happened. I remember being with my kids, okay, in 2002, and Christmas morning, waking up, fixing breakfast. They opened their presents and stuff. And, I turn on the TV on the news, and it splashed all over the news that this woman was, and I'm like, oh, that's horrible, on Christmas Eve. And this is before there was any really history or anything coming out about Scott Peterson and her. I'm like, oh my gosh, that poor husband. And how deranged somebody would have to be with a woman that is 8 months pregnant. That baby didn't do anything, and so, but that's my standpoint. I will look at the chat real quick. Okay. Exactly, TA. Exactly. Well, Lisa. I see, Lisa, you're saying if he's so innocent, why did he dye his hair? if you had paparazzi and tons of media following you around and harassing you and stuff, I think I would try to disguise myself as well. That's my answer. Okay. Um, yeah, yeah. I'm not saying that Scott Peterson is an angel. I'm not even saying he's a good guy. But you could take a guy off the street who could be a total obnoxious asshole, a total piece of shit. Okay, does being a total piece of shit and an asshole doesn't make you a murderer. That's my point. That's my point. And you know, and I said something in one of my other lives, or maybe it's, I don't know if it's a live or if it's one of my recorded videos, that um it seems like I saw a comment, not on my channel, on another one, that, man, in the in this century, there have been so many lies and deceit, so many cover-ups, especially lately. Cover up, cover up, cover up. Dirty cops, and even in as deep as the FBI and higher up, even in government. Um, I don't think it's just there's been an increase in that. I believe it's been an increase in awareness of all this going on. This has been going on for decades, corruption and stuff like this. I apologize. It's been going on for decades. It's just that the rise in awareness of it. Hello, the dawn of the internet. I first got on the internet in the early 1990s, before, I was going to say, it was long before Google Chrome, long before Google, period. Back in the day, I was at a command prompt, all text-based internet, okay? Um, and then moving forward, the main browser was Netscape, and then Internet Explorer, and Microsoft came out with the answer Netscape with Internet Explorer. But my point is, with the dawn of the internet, that it the internet totally exploded through the 90s. Then turning over the millennium into the 2000s, um, more and more people were getting online. When I was online, I was probably the only one in a mile radius that had a computer on the internet. Now, it's hard to find anybody who's not connected to the internet. My point, just the expansion of the World Wide Web, the expansion of the internet made information more accessible. Social media, I think, really, really played a huge role between Facebook. Well, my first social media account was a MySpace. I still have that MySpace. I don't remember my login, like my password. It was a different email address that I haven't used in 20 years. But MySpace. But really, it's been Facebook, YouTube, um, and Twitter, TikTok, you know, the social media platforms, Instagram, that exploded the true crime scene. And that is why we see a lot of corruption in government, in law enforcement, and all these law enforcement agencies, police, FBI, whatever, is because we see the increase because of the increase of awareness. Yep, internet sleuths. Yep. Okay. Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and get into the reading, guys. That's what you guys came for. I just wanted to give a little bit of background. I was amazed that I actually talked to somebody yesterday that had never heard of Laci and Scott Peterson. That person happened to be my other half. I was amazed when I was talking about what I was going to do today. He says, I've never heard of that case. I says, are you kidding? You know, I was shocked, but I guess there's people out there who don't know the case, never heard of it. My mom called me on the phone because she knows I'm into true crime. She said it was on our local news that about the Innocence Project and filing motions in court for Scott Peterson. And I told my mom, I says, yep, I know. I've known that for a couple days now, but it came out on our local news. So, I mean, this is one of them cases, even if you're not into true crime, you've typically heard about it. Okay. Now, I'm not feeling the haunted house in this particular case. Maybe that deck. Probably get my other true crimes out. But I am actually going to start with this true crime deck I got off of Etsy. I don't remember the name of it. Sorry. 3 of the 4 decks. Well, 3 out of the 5 decks are Etsy decks. Interesting. They're on my table right now. And there's going to soon be 4 out of 6 are going to be Etsy decks. Okay, let's take a look here. Now, while I do a reading, I do not watch the chat. That's my moderators. If you have any questions, they're pretty well versed. They can answer it. And I think it's only Judy. Is Judy the only moderator I have today so far? Judy's in here. I don't know if my other 2 are going to be joining or not. But let's get into this. Let's just see what this deck kind of has to say about Scott Peterson's innocence or the storyline itself. Okay, I'm gonna show me. Okay, let's take a look. Angels, spirit guides, send us a pure white light. Show me the cards I need to see to explain the situation with Scott Peterson. Wow. First card out. It's not saying he did the deed. Remember how I said I thought maybe he might have some involvement, maybe a hit for hire, or a criminal who already had a criminal history, because we got criminal. Okay. That's telling me that yes, that might other cards will follow. I'm not jumping to conclusions yet, but that almost says like somebody with a criminal history may have done this. Religion. See how that plays out. Cult. Religious cult. Are you effing kidding me? That's okay. This is why I wasn't jumping to conclusions. criminal religious cult. So it'd be interesting to see what the history is on those burglaries there. Pregnant woman? And we got honor. I think those three are separate. Something about a criminal religious cult, or cult doesn't have to be a cult. It could be an organization, or somebody professing to be a part of a religious group. I don't know if Scott proclaimed to be religious or not. We got honor. Fantasy. Interesting. Honor is recognition, recognizing a fantasy. Okay. This is making total sense. We've got secret crossdresser. To me, this is somebody pretending to be somebody that they're not. Okay. Did Scott do that? Yes. He had that fake ID, as Amy pointed out. But we also have serial killer. Criminal history. I said a criminal history. We got serial killer. This wasn't, whoever did this wasn't their first rodeo. Okay. Wasn't their first rodeo. Now, there hasn't been any reports on those thugs that was robbing the house across the street. I haven't seen anything about their criminal history. But somebody honoring a fantasy and pretending to be somebody that they're not. Fuck me. Oh, I got the story here. I got the storyline of motive. Motive. Okay. Dead center of the spread is honor. Somebody honoring something. Somebody was honoring, and I'll just say it the way I feel it, a sick fantasy. Honoring a sick fantasy about women, or this fantasy allows them to step into a fantasy role of something that they're really not, I'm picking up an energy of somebody really mentally deranged, somebody with severe psychosis, mental problems. And what kind of fantasies did they have? Fantasies surrounding the darker side of religious organization, religious beliefs, religious cults. I'm not feeling that this person physically belonged to a cult. Intuitively, I'm feeling this person followed a lifestyle or rituals, per se, of a particular cult that they wish that they were part of, or maybe in their mind, they had a fantasy that they were somebody that they weren't, that they were actually a member of this cult when they weren't. Okay. And this fantasy takes them on killing sprees. Be curious to see what comes up concerning this, but serial killer came out, which is saying that Laci probably was not their first victim. Scott Peterson, I don't think he's killed before. I think I'm getting an answer here. That's a good question about if it was near some kind of significant day for a cult. Okay. And I want to bring up all because what the nobody touched the deck. It was sitting on it over here, and the whole deck just fell on the floor like boom. Okay. That's telling me that that's the deck I need to use next. It was getting my attention. Okay. Anyhow, doesn't mean she was killed in there. She may have been tortured, cut maybe, that may have left blood traces on the mattress, beaten up, and maybe a bloody lip and lip got on the mattress. You don't know. Doesn't mean her demise was in that van, because that van was burnt like the next day or something, Christmas Day or something, or somewhere around there. That van was found torched. Okay. I don't feel she was done in that van. So if there was any type of cult holidays, cult dates, like what comes to mind is like New Year's Day or so. I don't know why, like New Year's Day, she was held till then and then done. I don't know. That just came to me because they were saying on the timeline where that one report was saying that Connor passed around the 3rd. It could be still off a little bit. I'm feeling the 1st. I really am. Maybe holding her for 7 days. The number 7 days. It's hard to tell. I thought about doing some research more into different cult beliefs, dates, and stuff, rituals, just to educate myself. Okay. What do you slammed yourself on the floor? What do you have to say? Yeah, this deck just boom fell on the floor. It was like getting my attention. Bingo! I shit you not. Here's a boom. Multiple people were involved in the crime. Let me repeat. Multiple people were involved in the crime. Boom! And yes, there was definitely motive. There was motive. Rage or extreme anger was a motive. You know how, that speculation, that was part of the motive. That's part of this person's fantasy. They're a serial killer. What happens? Okay. Kind of like how Laci's mouth could probably get on somebody's last nerve. And remember me saying that at the start of this video? I'm going to get 2 more. 3 more. Killer may have an item belonging to the victim. They typically, especially serial killers, if this is a serial killer and it's not their first rodeo, they like to keep a souvenir. And the victim was stalked by the killer. That's telling me she was being watched. They knew her routine, whether Scott's involved or not, whether they were told, or if I think they've been watching. They knew when Scott would leave the house. They knew the family's routine, and money may be involved. I think I mentioned that too. A theory could have been that they thought that they were going to get rich or get money out of this, and maybe they did contact Scott and say, "Hey, I got your wife. You need to give me X amount of dollars if you want her back." And he didn't care. He says, "Kill her. I don't care." So I'm just saying, something sus here. Definitely sus. Okay. Well, I understand. I appreciate what other psychic readings read. It's all energy. I am going by what I pick up. I don't care. Actually, I do not care what any other psychic says. Let me make that clear. I don't give a fucking rat's ass. Okay? I care what my cards say. Could I be wrong about it all? Absolutely. I could be my interpretation could be wrong. I don't doubt my interpretation. I see what I see. Could she have misinterpreted something? Absolutely. It happens. No psychic is 100% accurate. If they tell you that they're 100% accurate, guess what? They're a fucking liar. Let me tell you that. Okay? And I've got 40 years of experience backing me up. I've been doing tarot and readings for 40 fucking years. How long has she been doing readings? Just wondering. Don't get me started. If you're in here to doubt my reading skills by saying, "Hey, another psychic said this," get the fuck out. If you're in here to try to cast doubt on my abilities, just saying. Okay, let's go. Let's continue on. Sorry, Spirit. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's take a look. Let's see what this deck says. I can't make this shit up of what cards are falling on the table. Doesn't fit Scott's profile. Okay, we got business. Money. Like I said, I'm not convinced he's completely innocent. There could have been business. Money's coming up. Okay, a business deal to finish her. Okay, ended. There's a business deal that ended. Okay, let me just get through. I want to get 3 more cards on this. Message, communication, text, letter, note. Okay. Kind of what I was thinking. Ransom note. Who knows? That Scott didn't care about. Toxic. Drugs. Poison. Negative. Caregiver. Okay. I see where this is going. I think I have an idea. We'll see what my tarot and Lenormand say. Nearby, within 10 miles. We know that. It was within 10 miles. the killer lived within 10 miles. Okay. Of the vehicle, oh my God, underneath the deck. I can't make this shit up. Angry vehicle home. I can't make this shit up. I think that there was some kind of business deal. Okay. That there was a message of an ending of a business deal, which is plot is thickening. There was some kind of maybe, and it ended really badly. And somebody that seemed to be trustworthy, that had a darker side. Somebody that was trustworthy with a darker side, and they lived nearby. And this is saying they were angry, and at the home, she was abducted at her house and put into a vehicle by somebody who was pissed off. Now, which kind of makes me wonder, was there a bad business deal between Scott and somebody else? And they thought, well, I'll get back at him. I'll take his wife and his unborn child. There's more to this story. And it feels like whatever this business deal was, may have been something that Scott is still sitting on today. Because I feel like, and my eyes going back to that criminal card. I feel like that there might have been a business deal that could have incriminated Scott. And I mean, it was big enough, shady enough for some shit to go down. Abductions. So, and I'm kind of going back to the idea that maybe that robbery across the street was staged. A robbery to cover up the real motive of why they were there in the neighborhood. Okay. I'm not saying, I think he may have had a business. I'm not saying that he was dealing in drugs. Could have been. Nothing would surprise me. It's amazing what you find out about rich people in their private lives and in their business lives, what they do. A lot of shady business people making big money, outstanding citizens in the community and stuff that are criminal to their core. Keep an open mind that it is possible that Scott was dealing with something. I don't think he was doing it with anything petty. If he was dealing, it was huge. It was a really big deal because I'm seeing piles of money. Okay. Now I kind of want to get into more about Scott and Laci. Okay. Because this is not debunking the idea completely. What I've accomplished so far in the reading is establishing a reasonable doubt, but not totally clearing him. So we're going to take a look now. Okay, I'm going to draw a card for the overall energy, his energy, her energy. And I am actually going to be using what I typically go for, Major Arcana. And I've said it before, this Major Arcana deck has, I think, 3 extra cards in it. There's like 24 cards, I think. It's not, so there's extra cards, not just all traditional Major Arcana. So I want an overall energy for the couple, them as a whole. Laci and Scott together. Okay, that's way too many cards. I think that was an accident. They said put it back. I didn't even look at them. Okay. Okay, give me a card for the energy. Justice. So their relationship, there's a decision being made. Trying to balance the scales out. Okay? Legal. As I'd said, Laci, I don't know if she got to the point of filing for a divorce or she wanted a divorce. I think she was in the process of filing. So there were some legal issues between them. Now, let's take Laci's energy in that relationship. What was Laci's energy, please? Show me Laci. Show me Laci. Star. She went out seeking guidance. She was the star of the show, obviously. I think when the people looked at her and Scott, people were looking at her more than Scott. She was a bright star. She was a bright light. Okay. And in a way, she was getting everything that she wanted. And that's her certain destiny star path that she was meant to be on. Scott's energy. Laci was the star of hope. She was hopeful. So, there may have been talk of divorce, and maybe she was filing, but I think she was hoping things would turn around. Sun. The sun and the stars. The sun is somebody. It feels like I'm getting that she was more discontented in the relationship than he was. He's showing up as a sun. Sun is the most positive card in the deck, to a point. The negative aspects is like, I think that when she filed for a divorce, that kind of was dimming his sun. Sun. S-U-N. S-O-N. His son. He was about his unborn child. Something about the boy. Something about Connor. But he was shining bright. He was happy-go-lucky to a point. He's still a cheater, but I'm still not seeing a red flag to convince me that he actually, with his own hands, did this. Let me rephrase that. With his own hands. I'm not seeing that. I think she did know he was cheating. I think she did. Okay. Okay. Wrong deck. Duh. Blonde moment. It's meant to grab the tarot. Okay. Show me the energy at the time of Laci's disappearance and murder. Hierophant, marriage. Okay. Marriage, higher learning. Um, the Hierophant is a boss. He's high up. Um, the Hierophant represents institutions also, particularly in a religious organization. And we did get religious and cult in here, but more so, that's commitment, being committed. The situation at the time, they were married. There was commitment there with a little bit of defiance. Yep, there it is. What was blocking the commitment was some deviant activity. Five of Swords. There was a feeling of defeat in regards to the commitment between Laci and Scott. Somebody's handing in their sword. And I feel that the establishment, as far as the establishment of their marriage, was being threatened by, her giving up. She decided she couldn't fight the fight anymore. She couldn't deal with the lies. She couldn't deal with the competition. And I feel that that was what was the blockage in the commitment. That was the threat. Okay. So what really was influencing this threat? Got two cards that really want to come out. Page of Pentacles, Nine of Swords, 3, and the Emperor. Page of Pentacles, Nine of Swords, and the Emperor, the Divine Masculine. I'm thinking more like Laci couldn't prove anything without a shadow of a doubt. I'm feeling accusations and Scott denying them. The Nine of Swords is worry and concern over some information learned and somebody needing to take control of the situation. Or the Emperor is the masculine. That could be Scott himself. Okay. Okay. The root cause, the base. Okay. Why Scott was the cause. Remember I said, what was his card? And came out the sun. There's the sun. Being in the spotlight is supposed to be this happy family. And this being a family man, etc., etc. And the information coming out of what was going on, whether she discovered text messages or what, I do not know. But he's the root cause of the whole problem with their marriage. Not Laci, he is. And it feels like the shared energy, the justice, the decision, his decision to behave the way that he did and carry on an affair, that's what was the root cause of the deterioration of their marriage. And I will do Lenormand after this, not a full tableau, but more for confirmation. Okay. So what led up to? What was the energy or the event that led up to December 24th, 2020 or 2002? The Hermit. The Hermit represents the home. A hermit also represents solitude. Wisdom. Going within and finding enlightenment. So what led up to this? And I'm hearing stealth mode. It's like and that's a major arcana. Somebody going into the home. It wasn't her home. Let me see. Nine of Pentacles. There's just this solitude energy. So what was leading up to the day that she passed? Now this is where it casts a little bit of suspicion on Scott. Okay. It is kind of saying that after a lot of introspection, hermit, searching for answers, meditations, introspection, a lot of alone time, Laci decided she was better off single and on her own. That's what led up to all this. Okay? It's just kind of confirming what I've felt or what I've heard, that she was going to file for a divorce, or she asked Scott for a divorce. Okay? Because she saw hope in a new path. You know, the star starting out with these two cards, the Nine of Pentacles and the Hermit, is saying that after a lot of introspection, she saw hope in her future as a single woman. Even if she had to raise her child, the justice, like, okay, I understand you are the divine masculine. The sun also represents masculine energy, divine masculine as well. Okay. The moon is the feminine energy. The sun is the masculine. Okay. Those in my tarot course, that's coming up too, as we dig deeper after we get through all the basics. Okay. But, and it's not too late to join my tarot course either. You just have to start watching the lessons one by one. Just a little shameless plug there for my tarot academy. Anyhow, that sun energy is masculine energy, and being in the base, yes, he brought this on himself, and it feels like that. It feels like maybe the energy I'm getting is that there would have been co-parenting when it came to Connor, but she wanted to be on her own. She wanted to stand on her own 2 feet. She did not want to be in this marriage anymore. I think she saw Scott for who he was. So, right after, future influence, near future. And when I say near future, I'm not talking about from today moving forward. This is the near future from the date of her passing. What happened following that fateful day? What happened? A celebrating. 4 of Wands. This to me is leaning more and more towards he had involvement. I think he did. 4 of Wands with the Queen of Pentacles. Holy shit. I shit you not. That's a new relationship. What happened after Laci's murder? He came out with this mistress, did he not? Boom. There's a boom. There's a boom. Okay. Now, his perspective is Page of Cups. New beginning. Okay. I'm open to love. I can start over again. Now, let's look at external influences. Were there any external influences in this case that did not involve Scott? Was there anything that did not involve Scott? I shit you not. Oh my God. This is very close to this could be a drop the mic moment. Ace of Swords. I shit you not. And I said that did not involve Scott. What does this tell you? Those that know a little bit about tarot. I am going to just kind of give you a moment. What does it tell you about Scott? When I asked specifically what external influence that may have been part of this case that did not include Scott, there's a weapon. There's the unalivings. Amy, I just looked at your comment here. What you can do is if you go to my website after this live, right near the top of the page, there is a thing for video requests. Just fill that out because I'll never remember it here. I keep track through my website and I have all my requests in a folder. Oracle decks, well, that'll be for another topic. I'm not going to cover that here. Now, let's go on to the next step. Or that's telling me outside, he did not do the actual killing. Okay? He did not do this with his own hands. So, did Scott have, or what involvement did Scott have, if any, in Laci's passing? Here's a boom. Here is a fucking boom. Let me tell you. Four of Pentacles. Is somebody saving money? Money. This is like the third or fourth money card in this reading. Money. And this is like somebody, it's not, it's about banking things, securing things, but I am an intuitive reader. And if you're part of my tarot class, this is not one of the key words for the Four of Pentacles. Let me tell you, this is my intuitive read for this particular deck. Somebody received money. And this is the external influence about this case. And I specifically asked, first I asked, outside influence to this case that did not include Scott, was the Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords is truth, but I saw it as a murder weapon, as an unaliving. And I said, what was Scott's influence, if any? I would have seen something else in here. If I would have, intuitively, the intuitive hit was the Four of Pentacles, money. That could also be self-preservation, self-protection. But let's go on. He was trying to save his household as well. Keeping his household together. But money was a motivator. Okay. Next card. What needs to happen to bring true justice to this case? What needs to happen to bring true justice? The evidence. Ace of Pentacles. That's evidence. That's information. Information is needed to bring justice. Where are they going to get that information? I bet you it's from the DNA. And then if this happens, what would the end result be? Six of Swords. Transition, moving forward after the storm. Boom. There's a boom. Simply put, that is saying, when all is said and done, if the evidence comes forth as it's supposed to, he's going to walk away from these murder charges. But I don't see him out of the woods. I think, let me just ask if there's evidence of him paying anybody. Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment. Okay, so this is kind of a bittersweet thing here. The tarot is suggesting he could get out of jail free card. Get everything that he wanted. He wants his freedom. He's going to get his freedom. But I'm not so sure that the discovery of a business deal between him and somebody else to have her bumped off is going to come out anytime soon. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to take that angle and look to try to keep him locked up. But he might, if it's conspiracy or anything, I don't know he might get his sentence changed. He might even get out based on time served. So to me, it feels like he could possibly walk away as a free man. Okay. Let's get some Lenormand, and then we are going to call this a read. This is already over an hour. Then I'll check the chat, see how far back I can go. Make a few comments maybe, and then we'll end this live. Okay. Don't feel quite ready. One more. Okay. Okay, I'm going to lay them out. I'll hold them up. Dead center. Broom and whip. Argument. The woman. The dice. There are extra cards in this deck. This is Chiro Machetes. Gilded Reverie. Lenormand. The key. The looking glass. This is one of those extra cards also. That's a magnifying glass, investigation glass. Okay. The heart. The clock. That's time. Also another extra card. Sheesh. The rider. The stork. Wow. Mountain. I'm doing a bigger cross, like a diamond. The dog. The snake. And I'm going to go through this rather quickly. And the clouds. Okay. Dead center is the argument. And I'm taking this as the card of possibly the argument of guilt or innocence. We've got also, there was arguing with the heart card going this way. We've got the heart whip, stork. So there was discord in that relationship, in that marriage. It caused a change. Okay. Caused a migration, caused Laci to want to move or get out of the relationship. Rider, whip, time. So this is like news coming in that was, it's like somebody coming in, causing havoc and discord at just the right time. So this could also be representation of the van across the street. Something about timing with that van. Okay. Now, moving across, we have snake and key. Okay. Whip, or magnifying glass, and the clouds. The clouds being far to the right is kind of like saying, there's going to, everything's very clouded right now, but we are going to gain clarity. And I'm going to that Ace of Swords here too. Something bringing clarity. Okay. This is telling me that the other woman, the woman that he was having an affair with, is a key witness to the discord and the arguing and what's really going on in this case. That is being discovered through investigation that's going to clear things up. Okay. We're going to get some answers. I want to point out that the woman that is Laci, she's at the top of the spread, which is saying that, she had an obstacle above her head, something out of her control, an enemy, an obstacle with the mountain. I don't know if I could, maybe I'll tilt this down so you can see this a little bit better. What I'm talking about. I know there's a lot of cards on the table here. Okay. But let me see what this looks like on my screen. Okay, that's fine. But we have the mountain up here, which is above the woman's head. Okay. Where's my pointer? That kind of helps me. I bet my kitty cat stole it. I bet she stole it. She has a habit of stealing everything. I don't see it. It's probably on the floor somewhere. She probably got a hold of it. Anyhow, we'll just do it this way. Okay? So, the woman has a big weight on her shoulders. Laci has a huge mountain on her shoulders, a huge problem. Okay? That could be, mountain could sometimes be an enemy, but it's an obstacle, somebody standing in her way. What is this connected to? Snake, and we read Lenormand from left to right. Okay? Left to right, top to bottom. That's why it's usually read like in a diagonal way. Okay. I will have a Lenormand course launching in March. Just so you know. But we have snake, deceptive, poison, that is very personal. Okay. We have other cards like the fox, which is not really personal. It's just somebody with self-interest. But the snake, is a liar, deceiver, poisonous tongue, lying in wait. That it's very personal, especially with the heart here. So, Laci had somebody else there that was very poisonous. That was the obstacle in her relationship. Another woman. Okay. Now, things that she was standing upon. She had control over. She had the upper hand in a battle. Okay. She felt like she had her problems, her discord in her marriage under control. Okay. And what's weighing down on that is luck. And then the dog. The loyal dog. That could literally be her dog. Laci's gone. Her dog saw something, by the way. Her dog saw something. But all this weight is down on this dog's shoulder. This could even be a friend. Somebody loyal. Okay. But there was a roll of the dice here. Luck of circumstance. That can also be indicating, because with the time, the dice knights the time card, which is suggesting a luck. I mean, just getting lucky at the right time. This here, somebody took a rider, somebody that rolled in, took a gamble, and relocated her. There was movement here. So this is kind of telling me somebody took a chance on creating change. Okay. Up here on her line of sight is the heart. There is no doubt that she loved Scott. None at all. Despite all his infidelity and his flaws, she loved him. There's no doubt in my mind. But it just feels like it's run its course. Time was up. And the snake and the clouds, the snake was in there creating a diversion, a lot of confusion about the other woman. But there's going to be clarity, I think, is coming from that other woman. Right, is all about timing between the person running. And I think the rider is actually the moving van that was across the street. And this makes perfect sense. The rider, the whip, and the timing. The rider riding in, and there being a conflict, a disagreement over the timing of when the robbers were over across the street with that van. They claim it was Christmas Day. Witnesses say no, it was Christmas Eve, the day that Laci disappeared. So there is a little bit of an argument over that. But the big thing is closing out here with the stork and the clouds. There is some changes occurring, a change in the case, which is, I feel, there's new light coming to the case, and there's a change. All this ambiguity, this cloud that's been over Scott, there's clarity coming. So what do I say my summary is? Hold on. Let me change my camera view again. Okay. So what is my assumption on this? I don't think he did it with his own hands. I think that there was money exchanged. I think the burglary across the street was a setup. I think that Scott paid somebody to take care of Laci and the unborn child, Connor, because Scott clearly wanted to start over, start a new life. So, is he innocent? Fuck no. He's got involvement in this. He paid out the money, put the offer out there, and somebody else picked up the contract. That's what I get. And so he's guilty in that He hired somebody. He had involvement, but he did not do it with his own hands. He wasn't getting his own physical hands dirty or bloody. He's basically letting somebody else do the dirty work. Um, that's either the case, or um, I was gonna say that the window of opportunity that the robbers were there, and Scott knew that that place was getting robbed. Scott decides to leave, and maybe he didn't pay anybody to do anything, but he knew Laci. He knew Laci would go run her mouth, and by a by a stroke of luck, that she would piss them off. So there's still that chance that he did not actually physically pay anybody. That just came to me as I'm analyzing this as a possibility very strongly, because a Four of Pentacles feels like a payout, but might be saving his money too and being protective of himself. The way he protects himself, it might have seen a window of opportunity. And I'm going back to a bad business deal as well. Just saying that somebody may have had a little bit of revenge there. I'm thinking that they snagged her up. I still feel very strongly that that robbery was a setup to make it look like a robbery. I just can't get away from that. I can't get away from that. That Laci was the target. Oh, snap, snap, snap. Okay. I do this sometimes. I'll talk myself through it. And I was going to end this video, and I'm glad I didn't, because many times I end a reading and other things come to me after the reading. I'm like, oh, snap, I wish I would have said this or that. But I'm going to lay this out. Business deal goes bad between Scott and somebody of importance. Okay. Somebody of importance puts out a hit or a warning of some sort. I think Scott backed out of something, or Scott owed somebody money. The van was there as a stage waiting on Laci. And, the people hired to do the robbery or to snag Laci up couldn't help themselves. They go in and help themselves to the people's belongings in that house. They snag Laci up. That note, that message and stuff right here. And I said ransom note. Thinking an ignored ransom note. Gee, I could hold on. I'm holding on to my money. I'm not putting it out. He did nothing to help his wife, to help Laci. He may have been holding on to his money. He wasn't paying it out. He was not paying any kind of ransom. Okay? Which resulted in her passing. I still think that there's something criminal involving that business deal. It had to be big enough to cause a ransom and cause a murder. But in the very beginning, there was somebody pretending to be somebody they weren't, right? Somebody with fantasies. I still hold true to that. I would say one of the perpetrators, one of the people, one of the men across the street that was robbing that house across the street had some delusions. And I would say, I'm thinking that it was like one single person that actually did the unalivings. The other one might have been an accomplice, a driver, help dispose of the body, stuff like that. But didn't I think there's one person that did the act. And it wasn't his first rodeo either. So I don't think Scott did the physical act. He had some participation in it. One, either he paid somebody, or two, he owed somebody money. They were coming after a ransom. They take his wife and his unborn child. And he says, I don't care. Do what you want to do. I'm not paying you. And he saw that as an easy way to get rid of Laci. Either way, he wanted rid of her, but he didn't do the act himself. That might be why he walks, because there may not be any kind of money trail from his account to somebody else's account. And the other woman knows all about it. I'm not going to do this today because this reading has gone on long enough. I'm thinking I might do another reading on the other woman. The one he was having an affair with. Was her name Amber? Was her name Amber? And seeing her perspective on things, seeing what she knows, and kind of comparing it to this reading. So that will be a future reading sometime this week. So I am kind of done with this for now. Let me clean up my cards real quick so I can bring my computer closer to me. Well, or so that I can look in the chat at least. And Jen, don't get your tarot cards mixed up with your Lenormand. Don't want to do that. They're different sizes anyhow. I would eventually catch it. I'm just about a little bit of a freak about neatness here on my desk, so that I could think. So I kind of just want to get these cleaned up a little bit organized, even if they're in stacks of pile. Just give me a minute and I'll join you in chat. But that's how my mind works. I get the cards and I work out the storylines until something makes sense. And when I see multiple possibilities, I put them out there and kind of narrow it down. What makes the most sense in this? What's my intuition telling me? That kind of thing. Okay, now I could think a little bit, have a little bit of clarity. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Amber Fry, yeah. Okay, let me go up a little bit. Now I've never heard of that Darlene one either. I'd have to look that up. Okay, I'm just reading. Yeah, peace out. That deck was trying to get my attention. Yep, there was a spirit here. Over here on my left to push that deck onto the floor. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure of that either, that the baby was cut from the body. Okay. I'm just trying to get caught up here. Mary Blair Blies. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Going out on a boat in the middle of winter. You're talking about California, Southern California. Middle winter in December. It's warm. It's warm. It's not freezing cold like the Northeast or the northern part of the country. Oh, it's gonna take me forever to read all those. Okay. Um. Okay. San Francisco Bay. I understand that there's a lot of people that still want to believe that he is guilty of everything 100%. I don't think he was. Um, God, in these cases, you have to keep an open mind. With a tarot reading or these cases, you have to keep an open mind. And all because the cards say something that you don't like or that you don't believe in, still keep an open mind. I mean, I probably would not even have touched this, no, or anything. I don't know. I contemplated it before. I just didn't feel it. But the fact that the LA Innocence Project is involved, that just raised my eyebrow and say, well, there must be something to his claim of innocence. That's why I jumped on this. Thank you. I think that well, the biggest thing is the evidence. They still have it. The mattress that was in that van, you know, not everything burned in that van. There's still part of the mattress with blood on it. They didn't test the blood back in 2020 or 2020, 2002. That blood was never, the DNA was never tested. That is huge. They had the evidence all these years, the past 21 years, they had the evidence, but they didn't test it. Why? I don't understand. And the burglars across the street robbing that house, that would be a whole nother reading. What kind of connections did they have? I could see a few readings coming out of this, potentially. Not as extensive as the Idaho 4, but there's still some suspicious, there's still some things that are sus in this case. So I'm probably going to go down that rabbit hole. Yeah, yeah, that is crazy. I think I will, Virgo 22. I plan on doing some more readings on this case, a couple. So, so I think from there, I'm going to cut this video off. Um, and I got some things around the house I need to do. My son worked daylight today. I was up at 5 a.m. Yeah, I roll. He's done working at 3. He'll be home by 4. So I got a few things I want to get done. So I'm going to let you guys go on that note. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for stopping by and participating. So I will see you guys in the next reading. Love and light. Now, if my arms could reach my computer.